This is a transition on Atlantic Television Network. Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has voided a tenure extension for local government chairmen in the state. This was as the court declared local government law number 2 of 2024, which extended the tenure of local government chairmen by 6 months after expiration of their tenure invalid. The 27 lawmakers in the camp of the Ministry of Federal Capital, Chief Yesom Wike, had this year, in the face of the crisis, enacted a law extending the 3-year tenure of the 7 LGS chairmen by 3 months. However, the court in its decision Tuesday held that the new law was inconsistent with the 1999 Constitution and Section 9, Subsection 1 of Rivers State Law Number 5 of 2018, which fixed 3 years for local government chairmen and councillors. The court gave the ruling at the recent extension of local government chairman's tenure was invalid in suit instituted by Honorable Enyada Koki Jam and 6 others vice the Governor of Rivers State and others. In his judgment, Honorable Justice D.G. Kyo declared that local government law number 2 of 2024, which sought to extend the chairman's term by 6 months, conflicts with 1999 Constitution and Section 9, Subsection 1 of Rivers State Local Government Law Number 5 of 2018. The court affirmed that the lawful tenure for local government chairmen and councillors remained 3 years as stipulated by the 2018 law, stressing that any attempt to extend the tenure was not only unlawful but also violated the official's oath of office. Coalition of Civil Society led by Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness has called on Rivers State government to fairly address the unfolding events in the state in accordance with true democracy and democratic principles in lines with global practice in order to save democracy in the state. According to the coalition group, Rivers State government has refused to obey court judgments and ordered there be abusing court process and autonomy to self-help. Director General Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Nwambu Gabriel, listed out members of judgments drawn in the state that the government has watered down the gutters.
Firstly, Honorable Justice J.K. Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, gave a judgment stating that the assembly led by Right Honorable Martin Ameule is recognized by law and certified by the court. In order 4, given by Justice J.K. Omotosho, the 11th defendant, which is the Governor of Rivers State, in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS/1613/2023 between the Rivers State House of Assembly and Right Honorable Ameule and others, states that the 11th defendant, that is the Governor of Rivers State, is prohibited from making any request, presentation, or nomination to any other House of Assembly other than that led by Right Honorable Martin Ameule. This judgment is subsisting, and this judgment has not been set aside. In another suit pending before the FCT High Court in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS/1681/2024 before Honorable Justice Okoro between the Rivers State House of Assembly and the INEC concerning the defection of the 27 Assembly members, the court gave an injunction restraining the INEC and the defendants from declaring the seats vacant and from proceeding to conduct elections to fill any vacancy. The first judgment made by Honorable Justice J.K. Omotosho is still subsisting and has not been set aside. The second order made by Honorable Justice Okoro has not been vacated. In other words, the order made by Justice C.N. Wali amounts to forum shopping, abuse of court process, and this tantamount to self-help.
Dr. Gabriel also raised deep concern about reports suggesting that the chief executives are spending River State's fund outside the realm of appropriation and reapplication of corruption, abuse of power, and due process.
We are deeply saddened and deeply concerned about the report suggesting that the chief executive officer, Governor Fubara, is spending River State funds outside the realm of appropriation, a replication of corruption, abuse of power, and due process. The act contravenes the principles of fiscal responsibility and accountability. Public funds should be managed prudently and in accordance with the provisions of the law. We urge the appropriate authorities to investigate these allegations thoroughly and take appropriate actions to safeguard the interests of the citizens of Nigeria and the citizens of River State. As a coalition of rights organizations, we firmly stand against illegal activities and actions of the chief executive of River State. We call on all citizens, civil society organizations, the leaders of the bar and the bench to join us in defending the rule of law, upholding democratic tenets and principles, and safeguarding our constitutionally guaranteed rights. We will take all necessary steps to oppose this desecration of our courts and the noble profession of law. Together, we can ensure that justice prevails and rights of the people in River State is protected. Thank you.
Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, River State, has convicted and sentenced one Daniel Walter Anga to prison for internet fraud. He was prosecuted by the Port Harcourt Zonal Command of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on a one-count charge of impersonation and using of false identities in Gmails and Facebook for romance scam. He pleaded guilty when the charge was read to him, following which prosecution counsels 1 ago tendered some documents in evidence and called the witness ASE1 Ayaya Yusuf Abbas on operatives of EFCC who testified against him. The document tendered by the prosecution included the statement of the defendant indiscriminating print out from the defendant's mobile device and his iPhone 12. Based on the evidence tendered and the testimonies of the witness, Ago prayed the court to convict and sentence accordingly, while defense counsel J.J. Simon asked the court to temper justice with mercy, citing that the defendant was a first-time offender and did not waste the time of the court. Justice Eddie Palm thereafter sentenced Anga to 1 year imprisonment or the fine of 20,000 naira. Socio-political analyst Dr. John Idomage has called on the federal government to fulfill its promise of providing modular oil refinery during its campaign period. Idomage made the call while speaking on as a guest on Atlantic TV Blowout. He asked the federal government to accomplish its promise as to utilize the skill of the persons involved in illegal oil refinery.
Some years back, when I think during the time of Obasanjo, the Niger Delta youths protested, and the promise made to them was that the federal government will establish modular refineries to, create job opportunities for them and to enhance their skills. But, in Nigeria, promises are not kept. Just as we have no respect for public funds, we have no respect for promises. Normally, when a promise is made, it's like an affidavit you have sworn to fulfill. Now again, this discovery has demonstrated one thing, that oil theft is something that can hardly stop in Nigeria.
Can it stop?
Yes, it can actually stop.
Why?
Because
Why do you think so?
number one, because there is hunger in the land. Number two, so many of the active, vibrant youths are unemployed. I know of boys who left university 12, 13 years ago, still roaming the streets. Now, things are even worse. Look at the cost of living crisis. Inflation as at 2008, 2009, inflation was 11%. Now it is 33%. In America and other civilized societies, the moment inflation gets to 3, 4 to 5%, it is an alarm.
Yes.
They will declare a state of emergency. But in Nigeria, we have, you know, our capacity to absorb shock has become part of our body. So no matter what happens, people are dying in silence. Today, Labour is producing, federal government is proposing 48,000 naira. It means you have to wait for 2 months for an average worker to buy a bag of rice. You have to wait for keep your salary.
You use the whole of your salary to get
that is the point. It means that livelihoods are threatened. If the country is becoming a theater of the absurd, this is not what we bargained for, and that is why I always enjoin the federal government not to lavish, whatever goodwill the people have reposed in this government. All we have seen from day one is tax, and more tax. For what? We have increasing tariff on electricity bill. Today maybe we'll discuss cyber security levy. What are they using the levy for? Our roads are in a bad shape. Things are really bad. Now, I expect the government at this point in time to revisit their promise for establishing modular refineries.
So the government should just give up and
no, they are not going to give up. They are not.
The analysts further blame authorities, including the military politicians, for allegedly funding and backing operations of illegal refining of crude oil in Nigeria.
That complex web comprises, but not excluding, the security men.
Yes.
There are those who are the breaded wolves. They have a lot of money to fund it.
Yes.
Are you of the impression that it is all those poor boys who are jobless that can buy tankers? It's impossible. We are talking about a multi-million naira industry, which cannot be funded by the youths. So, ultimately, in that complex web, the security operatives must comply. Yes. If they don't, oil theft cannot take place. There are times when oil has been stolen and the tankers are moving. It is the security agencies that will avail themselves to guide, to provide security for the stolen oil.
Yes.
So she is not making an allegation. These are facts we have seen time and again. That does not mean that oil theft should be encouraged.
Yes.
You see, government should go into more sensitization. But the best type of sensitization government can engage in is not to talk on radio or television. No. It's not to... You see, our legal system is also retributive in nature. They are just after, catch the criminal and punish him. They are not addressing the causative agents. What are the causalities? What are those things causing, making this use to go into bunkering or oil theft? They are not addressing those issues. And that is why, if you don't nip this crime in the bud, it will continue.
Recall that the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 9 individuals involved in oil theft at an illegal refining located in a forest area on the boundary between Rivers and Abia State. Tragedy struck in the early hour of Tuesday at the Aramta suburb of the Yenagoa, Bayelsa State capital, as 7 persons lost their lives after inhaling fumes from power generating set placed inside a music studio. The incident occurred along Transformer Road, Amaranta, in Yenagoa local government area of the state. According to some residents, the deceased were working in a recording studio owned by one of them, identified as Akbo's Barakubo. They were said they have worked late in the night on Monday using a generator due to the poor power supply situated in the state, and may have slept off having the generator running in the studio lacking NG proper ventilation. It was learned that 6 of the victims were discovered dead Tuesday morning, while one who was unconscious was rushed to the hospital but later gave up the ghost. Some of the victims were said to be students of the Niger Delta University who are in the recording business to help themselves in school. Attempts to get the reaction of the spokesperson of the State Police Command, ASP Musa Mohammed, prove abortives as its mobile phone line was not going through. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Benin Zonal Command has sought to reinforce media collaboration to prevent and curtail crimes in the command. Efai Kim, acting zonal director of the Benin Zone, made the plea on Tuesday during a familiarization visit to the secretariat of the Warri Correspondent Chapel of Nigerian Union of Journalists. Okim, who led other personnel of the commission, expressed displeasure over the high rate and spread of crime in the Benin, which comprises Edo, Delta, and Ondo states. Okim said the visit was to enable the anti-draft agency to deliberate with the media on how to collectively reduce the visibility of crimes from the street. He said that Edo and Delta has a custodian of culture where brave and outrageous people encourage people and urge parents to morally guard their words. The EFCC director said that the anti-draft agency was an enforcer of the law, adding that partnership with the media was not personal but for professional reasons. Nigerian Police Force Intelligence Department's Intelligence Response Squad, as it has successfully recovered 10 of the armed carted away during the recent tragic event in Ohoro Forest, Ughelli, Delta State, where some police operatives were ambushed and gruesomely murdered. The tragic events led to the loss of 13 police rivals to the criminal suspects. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, SCP Oluwumiwa Adeyobi, said the defeat was achieved when it leveraged the recent charge on Susan's intelligence gathering and shared for effective operational deployment by the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Ebetokun. The statement also said during the coordinated operation, the gallant operatives of the FDIRT engaged the suspects in a gun deal, leading to the neutralization of some of the suspects, while the police operatives successfully reclaimed 10 of the stolen weapons and recovered some arms used by the assassins. Additionally, the police said it has arrested 6 members of a notorious kidnapping gang terrorizing the area. Delta State Police Command has arrested 2 armed robbery suspects. This was disclosed in a post shared by Delta Police spokesperson Bright Edafe on Tuesday. The 2 suspects, identified as Azuluneye Okonkwo, 21, and Akanku Joseph, were arrested on Monday. Edafe stated that their arrest was a squall to a series of complaints of armed robbery posted on the various social media handles. They confessed their involvement in armed robbery around Koka area. They robbed 3 houses and the victims came to the headquarters and identified themselves. Bill for an act to establish the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute, Obo, Delta State, on Tuesday passed a second reading in the House of Representatives, sponsored by the member representing Ndokwa Nkwani, Federal Constituency, Delta State, Namdi Nzeichi. The proposed law seeks to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act of Federation 2004 to pave way for the establishment of the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute in Ubo, Delta State. Leading the debate on the general principle of the bill during plenary, the lawmakers said the proposed law held immense potential for the agricultural and energy sector of our nation. The establishment of the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute in Oba, Delta State represents a crucial step in this direction. He also noted that the bill aligned with the government's agenda to diversify the economic and promote self-sufficiency in food production. Through research, training, and extension service, the Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute will empower farmers, agripreneurs, and rural communities to adopt best practices, increase productivity, and enhance their livelihoods. Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa has lost his father. Pa Suleiman Atanda Obasa, his businessman, passed on at the early hour of Tuesday at the age of 83. This was contained in a statement issued by Eromosele Ebomole, Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker. Baba Obasa, a loving family man and community leader in the lifetime, was a successful businessman in the oil and gas, in the transportation sector, owning filling stations. He was also reputed for his success in farming through their many citizens who have always been empowered. A diverse Muslim, Pa Obasa dedicated his life to the service of Allah and mankind, taking care of the needy and the less privileged. He is survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren, among whom is a Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. His remains will be interred by 4 p.m. in Agege, Old Abeokuta Motor Road, area of Lagos State, according to Islamic rites. Academic Staff Union of Universities have said it is not accepting the new governing council constituted by the federal government for its public tertiary institution, saying the union is for the return of disbanded councils. According to the union, the issues regarding the council is about tenure, and that the tenure of the former council has not elapsed before they were removed from the office, adding that the action of the FG smacking of illegality. Briefing newsmen at the University of Lagos, UNILAG, on Tuesday, the Lagos Zonal Coordinator of ASU, Professor Adelaja Odukaya, said the only condition for dismantling the former council should be that they have breached the law setting them up. On the non-release of the withheld salaries of ASU members, Odukoya said the government would not succeed in what is termed effort to force the mastering servants relationship on lecturers. They promised us that they came in that there would be peace and harmony on our campus, but already they are towing the path of war. Sister to Ahmed Raji, a senior advocate of Nigerian Silat Raji, who was kidnapped in Isayin local government area of Oyo State, had been released on Tuesday after 6 days in captivity. Recall that on Thursday night invaded their residence and killed a security guard who was said to put up the resistance during their operation. Debola Koso of Iseyanlan High Chief Sikiru Adeyinji, who confirmed her release to newsmen, said she regained her freedom around 2 a.m. after payment of ransom. Oyo State House of Assembly has approved the request of Governor Seyi Makinde to access the 10 billion naira loan facility to provide counterpart funding for World Bank assisted project Obeg Suburb matching grants. The approval was to squelch to the letter of request sent to the lawmakers by the governor. The letter read by the Speaker Adebo Ogundoyeni on Tuesday indicated that the state counterpart funding was requested to facilitate the release of donor funds to Oyo State. According to the letter, World Bank assisted projects are meant to complement the drive by the Oyo State government to improve the welfare of the citizens of the state. The facility, which is to be secured from Fidelity Bank, is repayable for 30 months. In their deliberations, some of the lawmakers who spoke on the request expressed concern about the state of the economy across the country, which has made life viably unbearable for citizens. The lawmakers appeal to Governor Makinde to continue to give priority to projects and programs that will enhance the living standard of the people. Department of Security Service Federal Capital Territory Administration says that the territory has recorded improved security within 1 year of President Bola Tinubu-led administration. Director of the department, Amadu Gwari, stated this in an interview in Abuja on Tuesday. Gwari said, while stressing that assuring assessing the performance of Tinubu's led administration on security in the FCT, that the impact was impressive considering the reduced incidence of the security breaches. According to him, the security situation has significantly improved since Mr. Nyesom Wike assumed office as the FCT minister in August 2023. He attributed the success to the proactiveness of the FCT minister through intensive community engagement and provision of logistics and equipment support to security agencies. He recalled that Wike had organized town hall meetings across the 6 area councils of the FCT, where he had security agencies interacted with community members on their active participation in addressing insecurity. And that's the size of the package. Thanks for joining us. I am Immaculata Irikana. You can join us on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X Atlantic TV Net. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress.